Well, hello, everybody. It's Dr. Hank, and I'm with Agent Wealth Success. And you know what we do here? We help real estate agents and brokers to increase their business and their wealth. And boy, do we have a special guest for you today that you will see that we're going to start flying high and really get some great information to help you to increase your business. And we have Jeff Pfitzer with us today. He is really regarded as like the video guy of America. He has he has lab coat agents, 130,000 agents like are on his platform. And what he does, he's actually in mortgage, but what he does is he helps real estate agents. He just adds all this value. In fact, I asked him today, before we started the show, hey, what do you want to offer? And he goes, hey, I'm not selling anything. I just want to help people and make their businesses more successful. So, Jeff, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, man. It's fun to chat with you once again.
Yeah. We chatted a few weeks ago, and that'll actually be aired in February, and so we're looking forward to that. And we'll do Extraordinary Agent, my program, offer everybody that at a good discount. So, but I wanted to get into you. This is all about you and to help all of us and us real estate agents. And so, can you tell us a little about your story, because you have quite an inspiring story, Jeff.
Yeah. Thank you. So I've been in mortgage for 20 years, since 2000. So I've been doing that game for a long time. And I would say I spent about 14 or 15 of those years just muddying along. And by muddying along, we were very successful. I had a branch that 25 to 35 people at any given time.
Wow.
And we were doing, upwards of anywhere between 650 and 800 units a year for around 125 million-ish, in that range for a number of years.
Yeah.
And we were struggling to grow come 4 or 5 years ago, and just kind of seeing that, technology and the way the world's going, we felt like we needed to align with somebody who saw that same vision. And at the time, our company, we didn't feel like was doing that. So we made a change to another company. Our entire group went with us. And we were there for 2 years. The short story is it was a bad experience on one side, but an amazing experience on another, because it forced me out of a comfort zone. It forced me to the minute we left. So we left a company that is very big locally. And so my first thought was, how am I going to create differentiation? How am I going to separate myself now that I'm not them anymore and I'm a new company? Right. And at the time, this is about 5, 6 years ago, Facebook Live was just becoming a thing. It was brand new. Yeah. And I had seen there was a guy, I just fortunate, there was a guy in my market doing a show called Coffee Talk. And again, like, this is normal now. It's beyond normal. But then it was like, this is innovative. And I was like, what is this guy doing? What is this Facebook Live? Yeah. And I just gravitated to him and got to know him. He was kind of a forward thinker, and it led me down the path of video. It's real quickly. It was that light bulb moment that said, this is how I differentiate. Like my colleagues at the former company, who are now my competition, they're not going to be quick to get in front of a camera, if ever. So this is where I can create that differentiation. And so it led me down a path of doing video, which started with Facebook Lives, which then started creating opportunities because I started meeting people because I was putting myself out there. And I ended up just kind of following a path of off the wall video, if you will, which has now become very normal. But I guess I was pretty innovative at the time, because I would do a video, talk about mortgage or talk about real estate, and I would think to myself, like, I'm boring myself. So I can't imagine anybody wants to watch this crap. And so I started to just do authentic stuff and personal stuff. And I would take my business content and get in front of a green screen and make it a little bit more fun. We would add music and maybe some dancing. I mean, I was ahead of my time when it comes to TikTok, right?
Yeah.
But, and I took a lot of criticism. Back then. And now here we are today. In the last couple of years, all of those criticizers have come back to say, we were wrong. You were right. I see why you were doing it. And not that I needed that for my ego or anything, but it was validating, because, it was just a matter of seeing, okay, do the video, do it differently, believe in what you believe in, ignore the naysayers, which there's a lot of them on social media, and stay the course. And I have, and it's led me to where we are today, which is endless opportunities.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so I just want to comment on some of the valuable information that, this idea about video and how you made yourself really, shine there and different than the competition. And especially in the changes that have happened in the last year, that we really need to rely on video. And so for those of you that, are a little questionable about, oh, I don't want to be on there because I don't have enough hair. Well, welcome to the club or whatever. Nobody really cares about what you look like, other than you. Okay. And that it's really about just getting out there. And I love the word you use on this, authentic, and just being authentic and getting out there. And I know you're going to help us and provide some amazing things for us here that you do. But can you just share with us a little about Lab Coat Agents and kind of how you got into that and your love to help people, teach specifically agents on how to increase their business?
Yeah. So that kind of just progresses in the story. So as a result of doing those videos, I started to get seen by people on a national level, which was never my intent. It just happened.
Wow.
And I got invited to a mastermind, a real estate mastermind in Southern California with some really big minds, some really wealthy, successful people. Some of the founders own a company called Digital Marketer out of Austin, Texas. And then there's some really big real estate whales in this group. And I honestly went there the first time, like feeling like I was not in my element. I was out of my place. I was definitely the poorest and the dumbest person in the room. And that's probably the smartest thing I did, was show up, right? And not be intimidated. But I went there, and as a result, I ended up meeting. So Tristan Ahumada happened to be a part of the group as well. And, I went there, and I still remember, and all of the guys still remember me for this. I had my cell phone and my tripod because I was always I've always had this mindset of I always need to be thinking about creating content, whether it's sharing my life or business. And I thought, how can I selfishly do something for myself here, but also give to them, right? And so what I ended up doing was I sat there with a 3-day event, and I just kind of just soaked it all up. It was a mastermind. It's a small room, like 30 something people. Wow. And I just watched people, and I would grab them in the hallway and say, hey, I'm Jeff, introduce myself. I want to create some content just for my local market and kind of tell people what I'm doing. Let's step outside. I'm going to set up my tripod. I'm just going to do a quick interview, and you introduce yourself, tell them what you do. And that's what I did. And I did it throughout the 3 days with like 10 people. Wow. That's how I met Tristan. Tristan's like, who the hell is this guy? Like a lot of people were saying that, who the hell is this guy? But everybody loves to be a guest on a podcast, a guest on a show. And I was just literally flying by the seat of my pants. But as a result of it, it got me noticed and people remembered me. And then from there, Tristan and I just kind of, the relationship evolved. Here's what ended up happening. We were at I think it was the second mastermind. I was in the room. I was just BSing with Tristan, and I was like, dude, you should go on a road show and like do events in cities. Like I would love to bring one to my market. It would be really cool for my market to bring something cool like Lab Coat Agents and an awesome real estate event. And he's like, dude, we've been trying to do that. Everybody puts their hand up, but nobody follows through. And I'm like, Tristan, you found the right guy. And I said, I'll do it. Watch. Wow. And we did it. And we ended up having over 300 people in the room. It blew Nick and Tristan away. And it was at that event, which was a couple of years ago now, they said, dude, we need you a part of our lives. Like you followed through on what you said you were going to do. Will you help us go on the road and create these events? And so that led to the LCA1 events, which I helped head up and then emceed the events. So it gave me a lot of exposure. And then that led to Tristan reaching out to me saying, hey, I know you have a podcast, because he had been on my podcast. And he said, I'm thinking about starting a Lab Coat podcast. Will you help me? Wow. And eventually he's like, you know what? I'm not going to follow through with this. Will you just take it over? And I'm like, absolutely. So I parked my podcast, took his over, because I knew he would introduce me to much bigger names and interviewees. And that's kind of where it led. And then just watching the group. So if you're familiar with Lab Coat Agents,
Yeah.
you know that there's a ton of content on there, and there's a lot of people that bring a lot of value. Believe me, there's nonsense too. It's inevitable with 130,000 people, but
Right.
what I realized is if I can come from contribution, that's one thing I've learned from Tristan is kind of kindness, coming from contribution, always giving. It will come back to you. You just can't ask for it. Just give, and then it comes back. And that's exactly what's happened. And so I just really kind of put my head down, said, I'm gonna contribute and give as much as I can to the Lab Coat Agents community. And it has built me a very big brand that has led into countless opportunities. Our mortgage business is going off the charts, which I've pretty much scaled out of at this point. And now I'm focused on a few other platforms, which are value add platforms. But yeah, that's kind of the why or what behind Lab Coat.
Yeah, that's awesome. So if you could help us, because I just love to get hands-on and really, and I love your the word kindness and this idea about being kind and contributing. And so I think about, okay, us agents, that how can we be kind and contribute really to our clientele and our prospects there, and I'm assuming it would be through video. And so do you have any techniques that some hands-on thing that we could walk away and today say, hey, I'm going to go do this right now?
It's less, I mean, video plays a part in it, but that's a good question because it takes me back to figuring out your avatar. Like, what's your client? What does your ideal client look like? So for me in the mortgage space, it was real estate agents. They're the ones who obviously refer us business. And so what I always wanted to do, or what I was always frustrated with, was chasing. I'm tired of chasing business. So I'm only as good as my last deal. It doesn't matter how strong my relationship is. I need to be able to bring so much value that my avatar needs me. And that is the mindset that every salesperson in every industry needs to have. It's not just real estate. It's not just mortgage. It's everything, right? And what I accidentally backed into was through video. So what ended up happening was I started doing these videos, and then agents started to call me in my market to say, "Hey, you're the video expert," and I was like, "I am. Oh yeah, I am." Right? And it was just given to me, right? Because I was doing it before everybody else. But it was that moment when I was like, I just cracked the code. Now they're calling me. Now they need me. And then I started to really dive into it and realize their brokers aren't giving them this. They're not giving them social media strategies. They're not giving them video strategies or video coaching because they're not doing it themselves. And so I quickly realized this is my ticket. And I honestly, again, my original goal was just local, and now it's grown nationally. We're growing nationally. And I'm not even kidding when I tell people that I have so many opportunities anymore, both with real estate agents and loan officers, that I don't have a follow-up system because I don't need one. My follow-up system is this. When I have an initial call with an agent or an LO and I tell them about what we do and the value and blah, 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 it ends with me thinking to myself, not I'm going to put them into my database. It ends with me saying to myself, if they call me back, I know they're serious. And if they don't, no big deal.
Right.
That's how much business is flowing for us right now. And that's what I try to teach and coach, because what I essentially did was I've built a brand that attracts. And that's what you want to do. So the parallel for real estate agents is this: find your avatar and figure out how you can bring them value that they actually want. Don't think about what you think they want. What do they actually want? And so really it comes back to more of a strategy, which is where it leads back to video, which is most realtors want to focus on, like, you want to dominate an area, a city, a zip code, whatever, a community. So focus on putting out content that brings value to the community, and start with, it's the digital mayor strategy. This isn't anything new, but so many people aren't actually doing it. And that is, you go out, you interview business owners, local business owners, to help them. So you're giving, right? This has nothing to do with you. This is not you talking about real estate. This is you talking about them. You will sell yourself just by being on the camera.
Right.
And then what'll end up happening is if you're consistent with this, you maybe even create a Facebook group around this. People will gravitate towards it. Not only will the community gravitate towards it because you become the source,
Yeah.
But so do those business owners, because those business owners are so thankful that you're giving them free publicity. They're going to be sharing it to their spheres. And before you know it, you just multiplied your SOI exponentially.
Yeah.
And you're the expert on something that they actually want.
Right.
Then they think of you when they need to sell or buy. And that's the name of the game. It's not a short game. This is not get rich quick.
Yeah.
But if you play the game correctly, boy, it can turn exactly into what's happening for us right now, which is just honestly silly. If you had asked me 2-3 years ago, said this is what's going to happen, I'd have been like, no way. I mean, that sounds amazing, but no way. And that's what's happening.
Yeah. And, and just for all the agents out there, so you know that this strategy, I've actually used a similar strategy with some of my agents and shared with them, hey, if you really want to own a community, a city, whatever, and for example, I'm in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and we did one in Prosper, which is north of here, in the city north of here, and that agent just ended up owning it, and they interviewed these business owners. And so, it's just giving back. And especially now that these business owners need your support.
100%.
And for you to just go out there and interview them, just use your phone. I mean, it's just a really easy, simple strategy. And, Jeff, can you share with us on, because, like that strategy, just sharing with people, I guarantee you, I have one agent in California that's doing over $30 million a year because of this similar, type of strategy. But again, we're back to people really doing it, and that, and so I think the best way, and, everybody that's successful has a coach, and or they get, purchase some training or whatever. And can you share with us, you have, like, for example, real estate mastery, and can you share with us a little about what you offer, as well as you have social coach, which is the social media on that. Can you share with us a little about those two programs that you have?
Yeah, and there's actually a third called Business Video School.
Cool.
And so, yeah, what has ended up happening for me is that all of the strategies that I use and utilize, I've kind of realized that everything that I've done was intended for my team. Like it was to elevate my team. Yeah. And what I realized was, after collaborating with some really big minds, is that this is bigger than that. And there are so many people out there that will want what I have, that they're like, first of all, you need to monetize your time, which I don't like doing that, but I realize I need to do that. Right. Yeah. And because I have some really powerful strategies to share that actually work, I'm not just standing here preaching something that, that I heard from Gary V. I'm living, breathing proof of it. And so, it started with the video school, where literally it's a school we teach video. You can check it out, bizvideoschool.com. There's a ton of free resources there. It's very inexpensive, but it helps the novice. It helps everyone. But what we've found is most of our students are very new to video. They're not doing it, and they just need help, whether it's technical, whether it's camera presence, whether it's what equipment to use, what social platforms to use, all that stuff. Yeah. So that's bizvideoschool.com. But then it led to, so Real Estate Mastery is it's funny actually. So it's actually a loan officer coaching platform. But what it is it's an exclusive community that is designed for realtors, but the realtor can't have it without their loan officer. So only the loan officer can pay for it and have it and have access to it. Wow. And they have to give access to the realtor. So what that is basically, it's like, how really since COVID, especially, this was before COVID, there's a dilution of webinars and content and events, digital events. And what Tristan and I kind of looked at, we said, well, what's missing, right? There's tons of this, there's tons of interviews, there's tons of podcasts, there's tons of content. What's missing? And what we determined was that it's like going to a breakout room at an event and listening to someone speak. You take notes and you have to go do your thing. Well, we felt like, what if we can create something that we actually give the audience, the real estate agent, action items. We give them homework. And then we bring back the speaker to a second interview that's a live Q&A. So you can actually now interact with the speaker, which you typically don't get to do, especially in the digital world. And so what it is it's, like I said, it's for loan officers. So we have an LO coaching call once a month. Every month is one topic, right? And so I also have two other partners on this, Frank Garay and Brian Stevens of the National Real Estate Post. So really big names, really awesome guys. Right. And so the three of us, two of the three of us are on the coaching call once a month. Then in week 2, we do a live webinar on a topic. That's what you get everywhere. Then we give you action items. So we actually give our LOs a workbook to give to their agents that follow along, notes and the action items and history of the speaker and all that stuff. And then week 3 is where they take action, where they have homework from the topic. And then week 4 is the live Q&A. So every month this is just a rinse and repeat. But it's really designed. So going back to the value. What I realized the biggest weakness in the mortgage industry is that LOs really suck at bringing value. Let me clarify. They think that value is I answer my phone on nights and weekends. I have great programs. I have great rates. I have marketing. That's not value. That's your job. and so you need to be better than that. And so we're trying to provide that to the mortgage industry to say, hey, this is where you can create this is where you can create stickiness. So that your realtors actually need you. They you're not just a dime a dozen like every other LO. And so that's kind of the design. And then
that's the real estate, excuse me, that's the real estate mastery.
Correct. That's real estate mastery.
How would we go about to sign that? I believe you're going to actually be, as you're on the show, and you're going to give away the first month, right? Is that correct? So again, this is just for loan officers. So if you're a realtor watching this and it's something you're interested in, that's what we would love to see. Is we would love for real estate agents to introduce it to their LO and have their LO say, go check this out, or you can reach out to me. I'll give my email address and my cell phone actually. Okay, cool.
If you want to reach out to me, I'm happy to share more. But yeah, that's the design behind it.
Yeah. And what is, could you give us your email?
Yeah, sure. The best email is probably, so it's my first initial, so J, and then my last name, P as in Paul, F as in Frank, ITZER, 21 at gmail.com.
Okay.
That's probably my best email address. And then my cell phone is 314 220 4945.
4945.
Anybody's welcome to reach out. You can also find me on all the social platforms and shoot me a DM. That happens a lot too. I'm very active on all the social platforms.
That's awesome. And I love on how you, hook it into, if you will, the loan officer. And one of my focuses with my agents this year is to really build these teams. And, people say, I don't have money or whatever to, hire a bunch of people. It's not hiring anybody per se, that, it's building this team, like who's your preferred loan officer, and to really start engaging. And here's a way, and what I love about that process, because as you know, I'm a trainer and have, helped Fortune 100 companies around the world, et cetera. And the most effective way is of training and really having it sink in to provide results and increase your business is this idea about, hey, giving some action steps on, hey, let's inspired action steps, do this, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it. And I also love your accessibility. I have some people on the show, and I have big people like yourself on the show that, they go to this website or whatever, and, and it's kind of like no person. And so I really, and we all appreciate, Jeff, that you're so easily accessible, if you will, to us on that. And then, so that's the real estate mastery. And then also, can you talk about your social coach?
Yeah. Actually, one more thing about real estate mastery too. Part of it too was, so if you're a coach or you're a team or you're a broker like that, so here's just my thought process. I think of myself as a broker. That's where I shifted my mindset, because again, I have my avatar, and I always thought to myself, I think of myself as a broker. And so I want to bring a lot of value. And so because I have a lot of broker friends, I would go to them and say, listen, I'm going to build this platform for you. And I'm going to bring it to you, which is going to make you as a leader and as a brokerage, stickier for your agents, because now it's that extra value. It's not the same old, the same old coaching platforms. I won't name names, but everybody offers the same platform coaching, right? And that doesn't create any stickiness. So you as a broker need to think the same way. Like, what can I offer my agents that's different? Should I get an enterprise account with Business Video School? Should I get involved with Real Estate Mastery to where I can provide them coaching that's unique, that every brokerage on every street corner in my market doesn't have?
Yeah.
So that's that. And so that's just my mindset on all of it. And then that leads to Social Coach, which kind of found me by accident. Again, the founder of this. So it's an app. So there's a lot of social coaching companies nowadays. In other words, they'll do posting for you and you basically buy followers. I've done it myself just to test all that stuff out. And what I've found was the biggest weakness there in those platforms are, one, there's a lot of fakes. There's a lot of bots. There's a lot of companies that are going to dupe you. But even the ones that are legitimate, and I have some good friends that own some of these companies, they don't create organic growth. And so what do you want? Do you want vanity metrics, or do you want to actually drive business? And I'm not knocking either one, because I've wanted vanity metrics just for status, right? But that doesn't really drive any results, because those vanity metrics are not real followers. They're just people that followed you because an influencer said to go follow you, right? And so that's what most companies are. Whereas this Social Coach is different in the sense that it's an app, first of all, where the coaches like myself are basically creating done-for-you content. So you'll receive prompts, 4 to 6 days a week with an actual post that the app connects to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And so you have to actually push the post out. It's a done-for-you post with a caption, with hashtags.
Right.
You have to push it out. And the reason why we believe this is a better option is because if you truly want to use social media as a strategy, you can't have somebody do it for you. It will not work.
Right.
It's authenticity. That's what social media is about. Nobody goes to Facebook or Instagram or any of these platforms to say, I'm going to open up Facebook and buy a house. I'm going to go searching for houses. That's not the way that it works. They go to Zillow, they go to realtor.com, they go to Google, right? So the reason why you're using social media is to build your brand, is to create omnipresence, is so that your followers remember you. That's the key. And what do they want? They are more interested in your life. They're more interested in your travels. They're more interested in your interests. They're not interested in market data. There's tons of that. They don't need 10 steps to sell their home this spring. They don't need that. There's 1 million of those, right? And so that's where Social Coach bridges the gap, which is it's done for you content, forces you to be engaged, but it's easy. And then we also, obviously, I take it a step further as a coach, because I'm such a video guy. We actually provide video scripts and video ideas. And so our clients will have basically everything they need to create a larger presence, a more consistent presence on social media. Because most people, what I've found is that they know they need to do it and they want to do it, but they struggle with creativity and they struggle with content. And so that's where we fill that gap. We make it easy for you.
Jeff, this is just awesome. And I don't know about you guys, but you need to be taking notes on this. That's what I'm doing. I'm sitting there writing down as fast as I can, just all of this brilliant information. And just a couple comments on that, years ago that I got somebody saying, hey, there's this Facebook business page and you need to be on, and I can get you 5,000 people and it'll cost you $500 or whatever. And it actually was detrimental on, those people were from like India and stuff, whatever. And it really is as organic. So I basically just, tossed this and just said, hey, I'm just going to do it, and it's one person at a time. And I really like that mindset is this just one person at a time. Don't be thinking about millions or, thousands, whatever. That, just stick to the basics. And then I love on how you have, just done for you content, as you so eloquently stated it, and then also on video. And again, that's one of our strategies this year for all of us that are watching this, is to get more into video and to start doing video, and not being concerned about what you look like or whatever. Yeah. And or if you're going to goof up, it's good to goof up. When you make a mistake and say, hey, what was I thinking about that? You're human. Yeah. And so it puts you into who you are. In fact, I had a guy, an agent a couple of weeks ago, contact me, and he said, listen, I've been following you for years, and I just figured it was impossible for anybody to be as happy as you are, and you must be faking it, or whatever. And I said, and so, but he called me and he said, I've been following you for years, and you really are happy, and so just be who you are, and whether or not people believe it or not, it doesn't matter. Be who you are. And I'm just a happy guy. And so in Dr. Hank's La La Land. And and this is just all fantastic. And then I think you have one other one that you were going to talk about, real estate mastery, social coach.
And then business video school, which I threw in there.
Yeah. And so we have all three of those. And so what else? We have a few minutes remaining here. And I think I have one question for you, and then I'd like to kind of end with, what you'd like to, the biggest, juiciest thing you can give us, before we leave. But like on video, like if I'm going to, just to try to encourage people, if I'm going to just go see a business owner, and so, maybe I just go to a strip mall, whatever, office building, and, walk in, and when I take that video, is it as easy as using my phone, and then from my phone, where do I transfer that to? So can you just share a little detail on that, just to kind of have everybody just go out and interview at least one person and get it up on social media?
Yeah. I mean, so there is some technical aspects to it, but we try to make it as simple as possible. So yeah, I mean, we've now evolved into hiring videographers, and you're welcome to do that. But okay. I started by doing it all myself. And so I actually have a kind of a checklist of just a really simple list of what to follow, how to prepare it, how to prepare the interviewer, like the business, right? And some various questions that you need to have in every interview. And anybody, you've got my contact info, reach out to me. I'll send it to you. It's just a simple Word document with a list of some stuff. So I'm happy to share that. And so the answer to your question is yes. I used my cell phone. So I literally there was 3 pieces of equipment. One is my camera, which is my cell phone. The other is a tripod, because again, you need to, it's an interview style, right? So you need to have a tripod to set up. And these you can get them for $30 on Amazon. There's a million options. Again, feel free to reach out if you want an example. I'll send you exactly what I buy. I own a bunch of them. And then the other thing I invested in was a lavalier microphone set. Interview set. I'm sorry, lavalier microphone interview set. So lavalier microphones are very easy to find, also on Amazon, but specifically an interview set, which means it splits and it has one plug with 2 microphones. And so that way, when I would go out and interview, usually it's just one-on-one, so it's easy for us both to clip on. You get crisper sound. You're out in public. There's going to be background noise. So you want to make sure you have that. But even if there was 3 or 4 people, we would just strategically clip the microphone onto somebody's shoulder or something, so that way multiple people could reach it. I mean, there's ways to work through this. You don't have to have professional equipment. And I'm telling you, this worked. Now, it also helps to have some editing skills. And I'm talking basic editing skills. When I started this, I was using iMovie, which is the most basic editing app on the planet. But it allowed me to at least edit the front and the back. And if necessary, I could edit, some mistakes in the middle or whatever to clean it up. But here's the thing. Don't worry about like the length of time. Like everybody's going to say it's too long. An interview's 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes. That's not the point. The reality is not everybody is going to watch it because their attention spans are this big. The point is you're doing something for them. They're excited about it. They're going to share it to their audience. There are going to be people that watch it, believe it or not.
Wow.
And you're going to you're going to subliminally be selling yourself without actually selling yourself.
Right.
And so be smart. If you have the editing skills, add your logo to the video, or wearing a shirt or a hat that just reminds them what you do without you having to talk about it. It's little things like that. And I'll tell everybody that my favorite editing app is a mobile editing app. It's called Viva Video. One word, actually, Viva Video. All it is basically iMovie on steroids. It allows you to add your logo very easily. It's much crisper editing. You can add music, you can add GIFs, you can add all kinds of stuff. You can make it fun.
Wow.
I enjoy doing that. But if you don't enjoy editing videos, don't kill yourself editing videos. Just ship it out to a videographer, right? There's tons of them in your market. There's tons of them in our industry now. You know, and I would work something out with them to have them on retainer to say, I'm going to do X number of videos per month and let's work out a deal. And so unless you're kind of neurotic like I am and you actually enjoy editing videos, which I do, just sub it out. Don't waste your time with it. You go create and let somebody else make them pretty, because they could add an intro, an outro, and all kinds of cool stuff. There are, I mean, if anybody's hearing this for the first time, you're probably living kind of under a rock. For everybody else, you've seen this. Like, you've seen other agents execute on this. So, but here's my point. Not the living under the rock piece. But if you see other people doing it, don't think to yourself, oh, well, somebody's already doing it. Like, there is tons of opportunity in every market, in every community. And here's the thing, focus on micro, not macro. If you live in Dallas, Fort Worth, for example, it's really not a smart strategy to focus on Dallas, Fort Worth. You want to focus on Prosper, right? On a community, because if you focus on the micro, you have a better opportunity of becoming the Gary V of that community, of becoming the very well-known person. And that's what you want to dominate. And so, you know, don't get lost in that. So hopefully that helps. Again, you can do it yourself. If you're like me and you actually enjoy that, do it yourself and then evolve. Like, I didn't hire a videographer on day one. It took years. Now I have multiple full-time videographers, but it took time to get there.
You know, that's great. And just one other thing about that is, what questions would we ask then, as far as, and what would we talk about in that interview?
So that's where I said, reach out to me. I'm happy to share this checklist with you. But so what I do is, in the questions that I have, I have 7 questions. I'll tell you what they are. They're very simple. How long have you been in business? What are your hours of operation? What drove you to start this business? What are your locations? What is your business best known for? Why do customers love your business? What do they say about you? And how can people find you online? And so basically, these questions are all derived for two reasons. One, give them all the details about the business, because they'll forget to say this stuff, right? They get done with the interview and be like, oh crap, I forgot to say where I'm even at, right? But also, it creates conversation pieces. So like, what is your business best known for creates, like, it makes it easy for anybody that doesn't like getting in front of the camera. It makes it easy to talk because they're talking about their passion. They're talking about their love. And so that's why I created this list. So, because I know that not everybody's going to go there and they're just going to remember this stuff. So you take your cheat sheet with you, give it to them to start. Like, just as an example too, I'll share, like, if you're going to a restaurant, for example, tell them to prepare one of their most famous or most popular dishes. Tell them to prepare a drink. So you have like a visible, and then you can do some B-roll intros, like zooming in on the product, because that's what'll draw them into the video. If they see that plate of nachos, ooh, I want to see what this video is about, right? And those are the techniques you learn as you do more.
That's fantastic, and just love it, and love that checklist. Thank you so much for offering that. So we're out of time here, but I'd like to one last thing and kind of open it up to, if there were something that would be, you think, most value to help all of us to increase our real estate business in 2021. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, when it comes, so video is no longer a luxury, it's a necessity. And I realize that still a very small percentage of sales professionals are using it. And so the easiest way to get yourself comfortable in front of the camera is one-to-one customer video interaction. And so I would encourage you to invest in a service like BombBomb, for example, where it's embedded in your email. And then that way, you're getting comfortable in front of the camera. You're not talking to thousands of people on social media. You're just talking to one customer. It's no different than sitting across the table, right? So that way, when you're sending that email saying, hey, congratulations, your contract was accepted, here's the next steps, you're putting it in a video form. You're still putting the text below it with the attachments and whatever, but you're talking to them, and you can show tonality and emotion and those sort of things. You will find it makes you much more memorable to your customers. And in many cases, when you're explaining something to them, like an inspection or appraisal or something about the lending process, it's easier to articulate it when you're talking to the camera versus typing it, because a lot of people retain. There's statistics about this, that 85% retention on video versus like 5% or something really low. I have this stat in one of my presentations on text. And so not only will you win customers over, you'll make yourself more memorable, and it's easy. It's your barrier to entry into doing video. So I highly suggest that. And the last tip I will give, this is how I started.
Yeah.
When I started doing video, the one thing I chose to do was, and this doesn't require any service, it just required my cell phone. I started sending birthday video text messages to my SOI. So it was clients, it was family, it was colleagues, it was my tight sphere, right? And so I was probably sending at least one a day for an entire year. And I did that for an entire year. I committed to it. And literally, I would just a 15-second personal happy birthday.
Wow.
I received you know the deal, guys. Like, most of us go onto social media, post on their board, happy birthday, like 500 other people. That doesn't make you memorable. What makes you memorable is doing something different. And if you just implement a simple strategy like that, wish your past customer happy birthday. Yeah. Boy, you just embedded yourself into their brain. Yeah. And now you've got a customer for potentially life.
That's awesome. And that right there, if everybody will just go do that. And to be clear, it's just with your phone that you just would take your video on. Hey, happy birthday to you. Hope you have the best day ever. And the rest of this year now is the finest, and wish you all the best, whatever. Yeah. And so a 15-second little video like that, and this will retain 85% retention. Woo, baby.
There you go. There you go.
Well, Jeff, I want to thank you for being on the show. It's just incredible tips and hands-on and all the offerings. And again, everybody can get for a free month of Real Estate Mastery or Social Coach. And then there's the Biz Video School.com. And could you again, Jeff, just give your contact information, make sure everybody can touch base with you and get all these valuable resources?
Yeah, so feel free to email me. It's jpfitzer21@gmail.com, or my cell phone, 314-220-4945. Or feel free to DM me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever you are. But I will tell you, I respond quickest to text message. But you're not bothering me. I know what people are thinking is, oh, I'm sure you get inundated. But surprisingly, the reason I give this out, most don't reach out. And so I don't mind. If I'm busy, I just won't respond. I'll respond when I can. So you're not bothering me. Feel free. I'm happy to share.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, a few things in closing that I just love that you are such a kind man, and how you give, and by giving that, you're also in the receptive mode, that this is how to build anyone's business, relationships, to feel good, to have a fulfilling life. And you really have hit it on the head here. So we thank you so much for being on the show. And to all of you out there that take this in hand and go do the birthday thing every day, do at least one birthday, whatever, to just get started, and contact Jeff and go to and join some of these things. Again, try it for a month. And, this whole idea about money, I want all of you to start falling in love with money. Money is a divine angel, if you will, energy that comes in and can provide us so many wonderful things. And we can help you, and Jeff specifically can help you build your business. With that, Jeff, thanks again for being on, man.
Thank you.
You're the best, and you're fun too. And everybody out there that love you, man, know that your day now, your business in 2021 is now going to get better. All the best to you. Love, Dr. Hank. Bye-bye.
See you, man.